Hello everybody, this is Denny Scott with another one of my tutorials from Indianapolis Sports Photography. Today we're going to talk about vignettes. There's several different ways of doing it in the past. Everybody's had different ways. You can, there's so many different ways. You can go into filters and you can go actually into lens corrections, and there's a vignette section in there, which we all used to use at one time or another, most likely if you've used Photoshop for any length of time. With CS5 we have some options that are pretty cool. If you haven't tried them and you like vignettes, you ought to really give them consideration. Another way, I think probably everybody's done it before in the past, is we'd create a new layer, we'd go up to edit, fill, and fill it with black. We'd go over to our tool here, we make sure we go over here, this is square with a little circle in it, is your mask. You make sure that it's in white, you make sure your palette color here is black, and we make sure our pencil, go up here and make sure the softness is as soft as it can go. Capacity is 25% roughly in that neighborhood, and we just click on where areas that we know that we want to highlight and to stand out. And we look like that looks pretty bad, but then we'd go into the opacity and we'd lower that opacity down to the point where we kind of like what we were seeing. And there, if you go in and look at the before and after, kind of makes her pop out of the photo a little bit. And that's one way of doing the vignette. That's what we all, I think probably anybody's done it very long at all has done it that way. I'm going to go back here into our file and go hit revert. When you hit revert, it's going to take the photo back to exactly the way you started out. Now what we're going to do, if you don't know this already, I'm going to act like you don't. You got a layer adjustment. You just click on this circle, half black and half white, go to curves, and what that does, it brings up a curve level here. We're going to take on the left side is your dark shadows and your dark colors, and the lights on the right side is your whites. We're going to bring that white down so it almost disappears, so there's hardly any white showing at all. There's just a little bit of her showing. Then what we're going to do, we're going to go into the second one down here. This is going to go, and you hold this down and going to go into the elliptical. Click that on. You hold your left mouse button down and drag it down to the length or width or size you want. Just kind of hold on to the mouse button, let go, and there you are. And if you go to Control T, which is transform, you can take that and you can rotate that and adjust it. However, approximately you think her head's right about in this area, and this is about the area I want to do. Now you can go ahead and click that on like this. Go back into your layers palette. Make sure that the black squares around your mask here is on. So if you don't have that on, you see how it is now. You click it on, you know that it's highlighted. That is what's functional right now. So what I'm going to do now is hit Control I, which inverts. It opens up the area inside that I want to not be highlighted or darkened. The part I do want to be highlighted. So now something in curves, which are in CS5, is pretty cool. You can go into layers mask, and right here where it says feather, you can feather those edges, and as you can see, it's feathering those edges. Now you can go all the way up to 250. I'm going to go to 100 right now just to give you an idea of what we're talking about. We'll go back into your layers palette, and we can go back into curves. Basically double click that, and we bring up the right slider that we had slid down. We're going to bring it up a little bit. Now we can go back all the way back up as nothing's done, but we can bring it down to the point where it highlights her about the way we want. Now if we get rid of those marching ants, we'll go up to select, deselect. Gives you a little bit better idea of what we're looking at here. We'll go back to layers, and we can show you the before and after. Now to me, she's standing out a little bit too much for me. So I'm going to go back into my curves layers, and I'm going to slide that up just a little bit more so it's not quite as prevalent. Now the thing is about this, you have adjustments on how little or how much darkness you want. But what's cool about this whole situation you go back into your layers palette, you click on your mask, you go hit your Control T for the transform again, and you can now drag this spot, which the other ones you couldn't do. But you can drag this spot around. Like, I want her hair on the left side there to pop a little bit more, and let's say I want it down in this area here a little bit more too, so I'm going to drag that down a little bit more like that. And let's say I want a little bit more of an angle, well, I can drag it that way. Double click, and there we go. Now I go back into my levels adjustment, and if I want that a little darker, if I want real dark, just bring it up to where it looks more natural. I like it for people looking at it and they're not really quite sure what I did, but they like what I did. That's what I don't want it to stand out so much that it doesn't look realistic at all. But I did want her face. She's a beautiful young lady. I want her face to pop out from the background. That would be the focal point of everybody's eyes, attention drawn to. So again, all we did was simple forms here. I tried to go through it slow and show you what I did. To me, a vignette like this totally looks so much nicer than that. That's just me. I personally like a little bit of darkness and my subject to stand out a little bit from the background. So at this point, if I was happy with this, I would go to layers, flatten image, and I would at that time save it however I saved it, and that'd be it. Now let's say we just flatten that, and I want to try something different. No matter what it was, you can always hit Control-Alt-Z and it goes back to where you were. Now when you do that, you can only do it so many times and it locks up and it won't go back any further. So if you just did it, you can hit Control-Z and always go back to that setting, or you can save this as a PSD and go back to it anytime you want it to. But usually on a photo like this, on a young lady or whatever, I'll just save this and I'll save it as a different number so the original is never messed up. But I hope you enjoyed this. It's just a little something I think adds to a photo. It's simple, and with CS5 now you have adjustments. You can make sliders, and you can make transforms and enlarge, make it small. You can change the shape of what you want highlighted. So I hope you enjoyed it, and looking forward to the next tutorial. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask. My information will be below the video. Also, if there's a tutorial you'd like to have on a particular thing, if I know how to do it, I'll be more than happy to do it. So enjoy, and I hope you like this tutorial.